Welcome to Truth Behind Travel podcast. I'm Dolores Semeraro, and this is my weekly show where tourism, travel, and hospitality industry professionals meet to discuss and share marketing strategies as they reshape the future of travel. If you want to learn the truth directly from the leaders and the doers of this industry, you are in the right place. Before you dive into today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app. And while you're on it, go on and follow the show on Instagram and Facebook at Truth Behind Travel Podcast. Welcome back to Truth Behind Travel Podcast. Today, with an episode dedicated to those struggling to reach their desired audience, with a message that is clear, relatable, and most importantly, relevant. In other words, a message that won't leave the audience saying, "So what?" about you and about your brand. During today's episode, we're going to explore 3 additional areas across the more commonly known travel decision phases, which are having an incredible impact on the outcome of that final decision. I would say these 3 additional areas are more of added layers to the travel decision phases that we commonly know, but we're going to see together why and when they make a difference and how to tune in exactly to reach that spot in your brand message. So, 3 key areas to improve when you elaborate your brand message when you want to reach your desired audience and connect with them at a deeper level and build a much longer relationship with them. Let's get to it. We are going to start with exploring that space between the dream phase and the plan phase. As tourism operators, we know by now that travelers do spend a lot of time in the dream phase. And this phase is where they start to think about taking time off, which could be time off from their work or even family sometimes, why not? And in life, where every minute is planned and maximized, they are starting to imagine how would they spend that time off? What would they love to do? What could they do within their means, preferences, habits, vacation goals? After the dream phase, that the first of the 3 key areas unfolds. Well, we don't live in a world where the picture of dreaming of travels looks like someone gently holding their head, looking out from the window of their home, like softly sighing away. The sound we rather hear now, and okay, I can still give you that the person is looking out of the window kind of picture. It's more likely the frantic tapping of the fingertips on the keyboard, not someone going like, but more likely like, with a person searching on the internet what an ideal type of travel experience would be like. Because truth is that in the dream phase, we still don't know exactly what we would like to do. We can start to assemble ideas and we start to sort of put together preferences and start to match them with our personality, our character, our habits. So in this first area where we need to focus on, the key word is search. The first key area to focus on is search. Where can travelers you want to have joining your tours, staying in your hotels, booking your experiences, where are they searching for their ideal type of travel? So quite simply, I'd like you to take a notebook and a pen and answer these 2 simple questions. Number 1, where are our desired travelers searching for their dream travel? And number 2, am I there? If the answer is yes, good, now we're talking. But if the answer is I don't know to the first and no to the second, I think it's time to look back into who your real guest is today and to really do a deep search around how that guest identity has changed and how you can make it not just ideal, but real once again. I would also highlight here another point that really influences directly the search area. If you're thinking that where to search, it's only referring to which social media platform you should be seen and found on, but you're mistaken. The recent Travel Value Index 2023, just published by Expedia, says it out loud and clear. In 2023, travelers are going to select their travel companies of choice if they are aligned with their values. This means that the search goes way beyond the digital platform of choice. It goes deep into the community conversations, in the ethos and the values, and what is fundamentally right for them. Actually, on a recent keynote that I shared for the tourism board of Tampere in Finland, the part where I highlighted that travelers moving forward are going to be concerned, cautious, committed, that part generated quite a stir in the room. And here is where the committed part, which comes back to what we're saying about being aligned with their values, comes to play. Travelers are more committed to international causes than ever before. And yes, you can blame it on the media or this never-ending amplification of the same message that inspires and pushes everyone to get involved. So yes, they are ready to change their travel plans if the destination, the operators, or even down, for example, to the simple choice of a hotel, does not align with what they believe in and speak out for. Needless to say, your discoverability is key. And more than that, your relevancy on what you are discovered for. What follows the dream phase that we now enrich with a very personal search area is then the plan phase, right? Here, I cannot even begin to tell you how many factors truly influence the direction of the plan phase and how it goes at the end, particularly today when the world is just really trying to come out of a very uncertain time. Well, money, health, security, safety, fear of crowds, fear of everything really these days, they all have a major impact on how the planning phase goes. So here, our job is one and one only. It's to make it easier for travelers to plan what they want to do, how they want to do it, and when they want to do it. That's it. Just make it easy for them to plan ahead. And what do travelers want today as they plan their travels moving forward? They want assurance. Now, this is the second key area of the three that we're discussing today. The first was search. The second now is assurance. How do we provide assurance across our brand message? Assurance that we deliver upon our promises. Assurance that we are committed, just as they are, on building a more sustainable tourism future. Assurance that we won't let them down should anything else, so to speak, happen while they're traveling. I can go on and on and on. We have lost trust in travel so deeply over the last 2 years that assurance at this given point of the travel phase is key. In this plan phase, assurance is perhaps the most important factor that would impact the outcome of that planning phase. Well, in many cases, if anything, assurance of a more inclusive holiday as well. Travelers have voiced their preferences after all, specifically 8 out of 10, which is a major data to work with. Travelers today have confirmed that they have made travel decisions based on inclusivity and representation. In other words, 78% of them, and this again refers to the Travel Value Index of Expedia, felt represented in an ad or a social content and decided to go for that option and to make that travel decision. And this data is even higher when we speak of millennials, where the values goes up to 84%. So if the traveler feels represented in these visuals that we constantly put out, they are more likely to be impacted by inclusivity and make that travel decision. So right after the planning phase has been topped up with a good amount of assurance, next comes the booking phase, at last, I'd say, yes. And here, after having pondered thousands of other options, because let's be honest, that's what's out there, you're not the only one, hopefully the traveler has chosen to book with you. But, there is a but, there's a soft layer, I would say, an area, the third one that we're going to talk about today, that we can't miss at this stage. If up to 84% of travelers would go for a specific option if they would feel more represented across visuals, text, content in general that we put out on a daily basis on the internet, it's because there is an element of validation that enhances that option, making it more safe to take. In other words, the third of the three areas that we're discussing today is this validation. Travelers are looking at their peers, their reviews, what are the others doing, and they seek validation to play safe or even just to play it all out. Understanding that if others are doing it, it must be right. Or if others are doing it and I feel represented by these others, then I can do it too, because that's what I like to do. So what can we do to help travelers feel validated, to enhance that validation phase? At this stage, we stop speaking of ourselves, our product, and we let others speak for us. We call them all in. Repeated guests, brand ambassadors, people who love our brand, journalists, travel influencers, you name it, all of them. Let other people talk about you, and you just take a step back there. So just to summarize where we are now, we've started with the dream phase. We enhanced it through the search into the plan phase that then turned into a booking phase because we've added an element of assurance. And not only that, when the booking phase then moved into a final decision, we've enhanced the flow with enough validation so that final choice falls on us and we are here talking about the experience. Here is where you are the master of your castle. Work that magic. Here, in the experience phase, you don't have to worry about any algorithm. You can create that human connection that no AI can ever create. So to recap, the dream phase, plan, book, and experience are now enhanced with search, assurance, and validation. How does this sound? Does this flow resonate with you and the work that you do? Well, coming up soon after the festivities is a series of virtual seminars where each phase is taken and discussed to the bones, my friend. So if today's episode somehow touched the right chords and made you realize that there is more work to be done and there's a need to really dive deep into these phases and work on each one of them, make sure you get in touch with me before the end of this month to book your spot. These virtual seminars are not open to everyone and the attendance is limited to a few. Thank you for being with me today, and as always, never forget to get in touch and share your feedback with me with a direct message, a review on Apple Podcast, or an email, or a comment. Or you can also share the podcast across your professional network if you wish to amplify this message, and I'll be forever grateful. All the best, and I will see you soon again on Truth Behind Travel Podcast.